Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue with our vocabulary practice for Unit 1. You should have the first activity completed already, unless you were absent from school. So, this is your opportunity to check your work, and if you were absent, to fill in the information that you missed. So, the first activity, we're supposed to practice using our context clues. And just to review, remember context clues is the information that surrounds a word. For example, the word absolute right here, we talked about how we can use the image of the birds, the caption underneath the image, the example sentence, and then we replace the word with a word that we think makes sense, and we call that our prediction. And then we come up with the correct definition. So that was the process we went through. And I want you to check your work right now. Make sure that you have the actual definition written in your box at the very bottom. Okay, so burden, the definition is something hard to carry or a difficult responsibility. It kind of has two different definitions, but they're related. So it's something that's hard to carry physically, but it also is something emotionally or mentally that's hard to deal with. So pause the video, make sure you have that definition written in your box, and then we'll go on to number 2. Despair, the actual definition, is a feeling of having no hope. Number 3, dignity. The word dignity means the quality of being worthy of honor and respect. So, honor and respect are basically synonyms, they mean the same thing as dignity. Number 4, the word is reluctant. Reluctant. This is when you're not excited to do something. Okay, reluctant, when you're not excited to do something. Number 5, the word is reputation. And the answer is the way people think about someone or something. Number 6 is the word trait. And we've talked about this word quite a lot when we talk about character traits. This is a quality that makes something different from something else. And then number 7 is transform, and it means to change completely. So make sure that you have all these definitions written down because you're going to use these when you go into work on activity number 2, which is the fill in the blanks. Okay, for this activity, I'm going to read the directions. It says fill in the blanks using the correct vocabulary word to complete each sentence. You may have to change the form of the word. So, for example, if it's a verb like go, you might have to write it in the present tense, like going, or in the past tense, like gone. So, it just depends on how the sentence is written. Number 1, I was blank to join the club, but it ended up being a great decision. So it sounds like it ended up being a great decision, like it was something that I didn't really want to do at first. I want you to think about what word makes the most sense in that blank. Put your answer down, and then I'll tell you the actual answer. See if you get it right. All right, the actual answer is reluctant. Remember reluctant? Um, did I spell that correctly? No, I didn't. I know that looked funny. Let me use my spell check. Whoops, is it not going to work on this? Sure isn't. Let me fix that real quick. R-E-L. Actually, let's make that a lowercase r because this is not the beginning of the sentence. Reluctant. So remember, reluctant, if you go back up to your definitions, it means not excited to do something. So if I'm not excited to do something, it might end up being a great decision in the end if you try it out. Okay. Number 2, poor Maya had to blank everything about her life after she broke her leg. So she broke her leg. So what word would make the most sense in there? She probably had to change some things about her life. So the word transform, if you look back up to your definition, it means to change completely. So that would make the most sense here. Her life would have to change completely if she broke her leg. So let me make this red so it's easier for you to see. Transform. It's TRANSFORM. Transform. And that is a verb. That is an action word. All right, number 3. Deshaun had a blank for being the funniest student in class. So we've already used reluctant. We've already used transform. So I'm going to use the process of elimination here. So he had a blank for being the funniest student in class. He had a burden. That's usually something difficult to carry. Despair means no hope. Dignity means honor and worthy of respect. Reputation, what other people think, that kind of makes sense. Or trait, that one kind of makes sense too. He had a trait for being the funniest student in class, or reputation. Between those two words, which one do you think makes the most sense in this particular sentence? If you picked reputation, you are correct. That's probably the best because his class probably thinks this of him, and that's what reputation means. When others, that's the opinion others have of you. Make this a little bit bigger. So we've used reputation. Now we have just a few words left to choose from. Number 4, my backpack is so heavy. By the time I get home, all I want to do is put this blank down. So I noticed the word heavy, and way back when we first started looking at these vocabulary words, remember that image of what this woman is carrying here is very heavy. So burden means to carry something that is heavy, and a heavy book bag could definitely be a burden. So we're going to put the word burden, BURDEN, in for answer number 4. Okay. You hear my cuckoo clock. All right. Number 5. Even though I lost the race, I did my best. For that reason, I still had my blank. So what we have left, we have, even though I lost the race, I still had my burden. Oops, we didn't use that word. We've already used burden, so that doesn't make sense. So even though I lost the race, I still had my despair. Remember, despair means no hope. Dignity means respect. And trait, that makes something unique or different. So for this sentence, I still had my respect, I think probably makes the most sense there. Or honor, it also means honor. Whoops. So we're going to write the word dignity, Dignity. That answer, that's going to be number 5. We have 2 left. I'm just going to mark this one to remind myself I've used it. So the 2 we have left are despair and trait. Ophelia's most likable blank is how she is kind to everyone. Well, her most likable trait makes the most sense. Despair means loss of hope. So this shows how she's different or special. So we're going to put TRAIT, trait, and for that answer. And then the last one should be our final word, despair. It should make sense here if we've done all the others correctly. Lila was filled with despair when her teacher said she was calling home. Typically, teachers call home when something not good is happening. So despair means loss of hope, and that does make sense in that sentence. So DESPAR, despair, is our answer there. And I don't want to do that. I want to make it red. And make sure that you have all of your answers written in your boxes just like this, so you have correct answers to study from for the quiz that will be coming up soon. Okay, you're kind of creating your study guide as we go along. So I want you to pause the video and take a look at activity 3, which is another filling in the blanks practice where you're doing basically the same thing that we did, but this time you're going to write your answer and then you're going to tell me why. You're going to explain why you chose the answer for the sentence. And I want you to do this one on your own. And tomorrow we'll go over the actual answers for activity 3. So your job right now is to continue activity 3 on your own. When you're finished, you're going to turn it into the basket and then find out what to do next. Good job, y'all.